Hello, what do you know about magic in Saudi Arabia? I think it's very different in Saudi than in the West or even in Asia. So I'll start off with talking about the laws in Saudi before we go into talking about witchcraft and sorcery. I'll start off with the law of Saudi Arabia. It is based on Islamic law, which is called Sharia law. And according to Islamic law, jinn or ghosts, we call them jinn, are made of smokeless fire, and humankind are made of clay. And for some reason, Muslims believe that mankind is preferred over jinn by Allah. Allah, which is the God of Muslims, or He is God. For that reason, jinn are enemies of mankind, and they try to harm humankind. How do they harm humankind? Is through dealing with witches and sorcerers. So sorcerers and witches direct jinn to the target which is a human being. Therefore, Islam prohibits dealing with jinn with any kind, whether it's a good reason or bad reason. Some people might say that witches can use their ability to benefit mankind, but Islam closed the door on both ways to keep away harm. So it is, and it's also believed that we can heal ourselves without the need of sorcery and witchcraft. Here's a picture of which witches use. It's some Arabic spells that they use this to target their enemies, let's say. And now I'll move into definition of witchcraft and sorcery, or witchcraft in Islam. And this definition is by someone whose name is Ibn Baz. He's the most honored clergyman in Saudi. So he's the head of clergymen in Saudi Arabia. His definition of witchcraft is getting close to jinn by means of offering, sacrifice, and other kind of acts of worship. In his definition, we actually see that witches and sorcerers worship someone other than Allah, and this is prohibited in Islam, and that's one of the reasons why witchcraft is also prohibited. And what do they sacrifice? They sacrifice rats, cocks, and also sometimes children, and that's very harmful to all humankind. Actually, the third thing I'll talk about is how do they harm humankind. There are ways, and now I'm talking about what Saudis believe in witchcraft and sorcery. In this, the first way they harm people is separation, and I mean by separation of couples, friends, and even parents with their children. How that works is someone who's envious of another goes to a sorcerer and pay them off to do this kind of job. And I've seen situations where friends hate their companions without any reason. They don't even know why they hate each other. That's because of sorcery and witchcraft. The second way of harming is disabling, and disabling of many things. Like they have the ability to disrupt any kind of works, like business, marriage, and even studies. One of my friends was very good at school, and in one night, at the end of the last term, he just decided he's going to go away and not continue his studies. And I'm sure that was sorcery or witchcraft. The third way they harm people is they can cause illness like cancer, or even paralyzing people. And I have another story, but I don't think I have enough time to do this. So I'll move into the next one. Sorcerers and witches can also cause death to people. And fifth, they can make people love each other without choice. This is usually because a woman likes a man who's married. So they cause him to divorce his wife, and then the woman who paid off marries the man, and that's all done with sorcery. And there are a lot of ways they harm people, almost 20 other ways, just to get the idea of how they harm people. Now I'll move into symptoms of being harmed. How do you know if you are harmed by a sorcerer or witch? The first way is unusual tiredness. It is unusual because like you've had enough sleep and everything was good, but you feel tired. That's one symptom. It could be. The next one is loneliness preference. People who are harmed sometimes prefer to stay alone. So they prefer to stay alone. And also repeated nightmares. One of my close friends used to have a dream of a woman every night, of the same woman. He doesn't know the woman, but he has a dream of her every night. And he was also diagnosed with sorcery, I think. And he was healed anyway. The fourth one is unusual fear of darkness. Some people believe that those who are infected have the ability to see jinn in darkness, so that's the reason why they fear darkness. And also the last one is unusual, frequent forgetting of things. They just forget things even if it's just happened to them the same day or even the night before. And now let's learn what Saudis believe and how they believe they can heal sorcery or witchcraft if someone is being harmed. There are two main ways. The first one is exorcism using the Quran and the sayings of Prophet Muhammad. I personally have attended some exorcisms, and I've seen how infected people panic and when they hear the word of Quran and the word of Prophet Muhammad. The second way, which is illegal by the way in Saudi, is going to a stronger sorcerer or witch to have them diagnose the problem, and they know how to break it down. And that's illegal, as I said, but many people whose faith is very low go to sorcerers and witches to just heal themselves. Now I'll move into punishment of sorcery and witchcraft. As I just told you, Saudis believe that sorcery and witchcraft is very harmful to people, so they have very harsh punishments. And I'll list some stories about the punishments. In May of 2009, a governmental agency was established to combat sorcery and witchcraft. They have policemen besides them, and they have the knowledge of sorcery and witchcraft, so they can stop this. In September of 2011, a Sudanese man was beheaded after being caught practicing sorcery. And in April of 2009, Bahrain, which is a neighboring country of Saudi Arabia, passed strict laws against sorcery and witchcraft. They discovered that a lot of maids that come from southern Asian countries practice sorcery inside of the country, inside of Bahrain, and that harms the people of Bahrain, so they passed very strict laws against sorcery. In conclusion, I just wanted to inform you that those countries in the Middle East deal with sorcery and witchcraft very seriously, unlike Western countries and maybe Asian countries, because almost everyone believes in the harm of sorcery. They're all afraid of it, and that's the reason why they have strict laws against witchcraft and sorcery. Thank you very much.